Tonight's opening begins with Juice of the Oats Oatmeal Stout from Oxus Brewing Company in Winnipeg. They describe it as having a creamy, smooth body, an easy drinking dark ale with the aroma of coffee and chocolate. All right, here we go. What does this say? It says electrical equipment and supplies. It's probably the most accurate one of these that I've seen in a while. Also, most vague. Bunch of dip ICs. It says CD4066 there, which is also what it says on the chip, so that's very likely what it really is. I just wish I could remember what those are and why I ordered them. 10 pieces CD4066BE, new and original IC, inline dip 14, bidirectional analog something or other. I paid $2.09 Canadian for this with 19 cents shipping. Looks like I bought them back in January and they're supposed to arrive any day now. Woohoo! Unfortunately, I can't find the original listing for these things, so I'm guessing that the guy that I bought them from no longer exists on eBay. So the link down below will be to this search, which should find you what you're looking for. And even cheaper than I paid for it. So what this is a quad bilateral switch, CMOS technology, old school. It can switch analog signals for routing them or turning them on and off and stuff like that. Basically, a microcontroller controlled switch. Or doesn't have to be microcontroller, but you know. There is the pinout and whatnot. So it's just got a bidirectional signal through it, so you can put signal in pin 1 and it comes out pin 2, or in pin 2 and it comes out pin 1, and the control lines will turn on and off those. For instance, an old school audiovisual system that's completely analog, you could switch the audio through these, and actually if they're high frequency enough, probably analog video as well, if you want to control which input is going to your amplifier, something like that. Well, those were interesting. Let's see what's next. It says USB charging cable. I hope it's not another one that I've got 100 of now. They ordered a bunch of stuff before all those cables came in from a donor. USB-A to USB-C. Oh, I remember what this one is now. Julian Eilert a few months back showed a cable that had a little volt and current meter in it. I think that's what this is. Let me just connect it up here. Yeah, it seems to have a little watt meter on it. That's pretty cool. And if I can trust that, it can run up to 6 amps, which seems silly for a USB cable, but whatever. I'll take their little lies. So let's just see if it agrees with the Finersi USB tester. So we got 4.68 volts coming in through the cable after the losses. So there's exactly 5 volts, well 4.99 going into it. So we're losing about 0.3 volts through the cable. We are drawing 4.1 watts to my load. And this thing is claiming 4.6 watts. Okay, that's close. It's not perfect, but it's not too bad for something smaller than your little finger. At least it gives you a rough idea of what's going on. Tukai Type-C to Type-C cable, 100 watt PD fast charge charging, USB-C to USB-C display cable. That's not, no, this is A to C. Oh, okay. Some of them are C to C. Okay, I got the 66 watt A to C in brown. 1 meter cable for $4.46 and free shipping. Okay, there's what it calls high-speed data transmission, 480 megabits per second. Sure. It says it's got this built-in E-marker chip, which helps to stabilize the current and voltage? Oh, so it's not just monitoring. Okay, I wonder what this E-marker thing is. Thick tinned copper cores. Well, we saw that over that 1 meter, we had about 1/3 of a volt drop, which is not ideal, but I guess it's better than a lot of the cheap cables that I've got around here. I'm going to have to try this out. I'm thinking that my application's just going to be day-to-day charging on my normal phone, so I can quickly glance and see how close to finished I'm I am charging without, having to go to all the trouble of waking the phone up and looking at the screen. But it seems like a cool little toy anyways. Right, next thing in, doesn't say what it is. It's not even pretending. All right. Pens. Ooh, long nib markers. Oh, okay. I've been seeing some of the maker YouTubers using these things lately, or probably the name brand version of them. So I figured when I spotted them, I'd grab a cheap assortment pack. So this pack has 5 markers or pens, each one in a different color. Green and red, blue and black, and white. I guess if you're writing on something black, that would be useful. Let me just grab the bag from the last thing and see what that looks like. Oh yeah, that's all right. But the point of these things, what makes them interesting, is that long nib. And the reason that's interesting is if you're marking holes in something, or marking through a hole in something that's got a fairly deep hole in it, like this thing is about 6 or 7 millimeters thick, you can get right down into the hole and make a nice accurate marking for your drilling or whatever other operation comes next in your making process. Those aren't, the most earth-shattering thing in the world, but I think they're pretty cool, and they will have some applications in the workshop. Maybe not so much in the electronics workshop, but in the overall workshop. 5 pieces, 20 millimeter long mouth marker pen, long tip bathroom carpentry, ceramic tile woodworking, deep hole decoration, quick drying oil. Yeah, the search term you want is deep hole marker or deep hole pen or long tip marker or long tip pen. But I will link you to this listing. I got the 5 colors mix for $5.29 Canadian. They look like they're on sale right now, but I don't know if they will still be when you see this. Anyway, if you search for some of those search terms, you should find them anyway. Don't know what more to say about them really, that we haven't already said about them anyway. There's the dimensions, sure. And yeah, the tips of them are 1 millimeter wide, most of them, except for the white one, which is 0.7. And they seem to make nice marker marks, similar to the 0.7 millimeter Sharpie tip. I wouldn't expect them to be as high quality as a Sharpie marker, but time will tell, I guess. We'll find out. Right, the third thing in, it, again, doesn't say in English on there what it is. I wonder how Customs does their job when they can't read what the Customs declaration is. Oh, it's a kit! Hey! There's a lot going on in here. We have a speaker, we have some shrink tube, we have a 28-pin dip socket, some standoffs, a circuit board in the back, and even instructions. So there is the schematic. We've got what looks like a bunch of LEDs there, connected to this microcontroller. A bunch of resistors with variable resistors there, so voltage dividers. Same number of those as LEDs, okay. The speaker, which connects to the microcontroller as well. We have a little power section and even more LEDs there. And then more LEDs there, but they're labeled JG1 or JG or IG something. That doesn't help me. Those are JG 1 through 7. Okay, 40-pin chip. Oh, it's an STC89C52 microcontroller. Okay. I don't have Google Translate on this phone. It's a much older phone, but if you guys want to read it, go ahead. I am probably going to find out what it is by reading the listing, but let's take a quick look at the circuit board and see if it says anything. Those weren't variable resistors. They're light-dependent resistors. I guess they are variable resistors then. Okay. And then this snap-off board up here looks like what's holding LEDs. So yeah, there is LDRs in there. Not seeing LEDs, but... Oh! These are those little laser diode modules. This is, what is it? Laser harp, I think is what this thing was called. It's a musical instrument that you play by breaking the beam between the little laser diodes and the light dependent resistors. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Laser Harp Kit. 51 SCM electronic piano kit, music harp DIY electronic production kit parts. $5.91 and $1.98 shipping. There's a picture of it assembled down in the corner there. I think I may install the wiring a little bit more neat than that. A harp without strings, bright red laser beams representing 7 notes. Only need to move the beam, that is, block the laser with their fingers, just like you're moving the string. Oh, that's cool. You can also adjust the pitch, including bass, mid-range, and treble. 21 different tones available. Oh, that's nifty. So how do we... I guess these 2 buttons will adjust the... Sure, it's a microcontroller, so you just do it in software. Why not? So those will be the adjustments. There's LEDs for low, medium, and high. So that will be, I guess, adjusting the pitch or something like that. And then, sure, there's the variable resistors, the light-dependent resistors. Getting a voltage divider there. There's the laser diodes up top, and there's just regular LEDs. Okay, so as you're playing it, I guess it lights up other LEDs. Sure, there's little LEDs beside the light-dependent resistors. Oh, that should be a cool one to put together. You see, I'm restocking on kits because I went through a bunch of my kits last December in my December of kit builds. So I'm not sure whether I'll do this one during the year or whether I will save it for December because it promises to be an interesting little kit. And the last one in. This one came to my P.O. box, which means one of y'all sent it to me. And all it says on here is board. So... wonder what it is. Oh, it's 2 little boards. Okay. MH sensor series. It's got LEDs. Oh, that is a reflective sensor. One of these is an infrared LED. One of these is an infrared photodiode. And if an object is close enough, the photodiode will see the LED and turn on or off depending on the distance. It's not an analog device. It's not like those ultrasonic distance finders. This is just a go, no go. And you can adjust the sensitivity of it with that pot there. So I've used a bunch of these around my model railroad for detecting the presence of trains. I will put a link up there to one of those ancient videos, like 6+ years ago, I think, probably. But these are a cool, handy little device. And the other one, I think I recognize this guy. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought it was. This is a breadboard power supply. Basically, you take this guy and you park it on the power rails of a standard breadboard. Some fit better than others. That fits pretty well. And you see here it has positive and minus there and positive and minus there, which line up with the red and not red power rails on here. And then up here you have a jumper. You can either choose 3.3 or 5 volts. And over here you have another one. You can choose 3.3 or 5 volts. So you can have a different voltage on each side of the power rails for different things going on. So it can take a barrel jack input as a power switch there. It says right on it between 7 and 12 volts. It's a little protection diode to make sure that you connect your barrel jack in the right direction. They're supposed to be standard, not always. And a smoothing capacitor, LED to tell you if it's powered on or not, and a 5 volt output, which is kind of handy. You can also pick up 3.3 and 5 volts off these pins if you need to run them somewhere off board. Here is where the magic happens. These are LM1117 voltage regulators, linear voltage regulators. One of them's 3.3 volt, one of them's 5 volts. They can handle, I think, up to about 3/4 of an amp. They're not the most powerful devices in the world, but for most breadboard projects, they're adequate. The only caveat with the LM1117 is that if you do overload the output, if you happen to short the output or something like that and cause them to fail, a lot of the times, more often than not, they will fail in a short circuit from the input to the output, which means instead of getting 3.3 volts going to your project, you will get the full 12 volts going to your project if you damage one of these. So just be aware, don't be plugging stuff in and out with it powered on, and double check what you're doing before you power it back on, and you should be fine. One thing that I've done for other ones of this same module that I've had for a while, it's a different brand, but it's pretty much the same thing. I have, instead of using that jumper, I've made up my own jumper, and it's got a little NTC fuse on it, an auto resettable fuse. So if I pull a stupid and draw too much current out of it, then that will hopefully shut down the circuit before I blow up the regulator. And if you look carefully at this 5-volt regulator here, you will see the soldering is not factory. I have replaced that one. And that is how I learned the lesson about protecting these things. But as long as you're careful with them and don't, like I said, don't hot plug stuff and double check your work, these are an excellent addition to anybody's shop that uses breadboards. And there is the contents of today's Mailbag Monday haul. Lots of fun stuff in here. This laser harp kit should be fun to put together when I get around to doing it. As I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to save this for December kit extravaganza again, or if I'm going to do it when I'm bored during the summer, or maybe on a rainy day or something. I'm not sure. These, what are they? Quad bidirectional switches should be interesting for an audio switching project. Like I said, I'm going to have to go back and look at my notes, but I think I remember wanting to use these just for messing with analog audio. This charging cable with the little watt meter in it is kind of an interesting and silly thing. I'm probably going to use it for a while on my phone by my nightstand just to see how well it works for a while, and maybe some other applications will turn up. And these deep hole long reach markers should be a handy thing to have out in my garage or my workshop, just for doing various projects, just as a consumable. You never know when you're going to need things like that. And then thanks to whoever sent these two modules in. I've used both of them in the past. They are very useful modules, and I'm sure I will get use out of them in the future again. In addition to all that, I want to thank my Patreon supporters and my YouTube channel members for helping me buy all this stuff and keeping the beer fridge full. Thanks to everybody who keeps watching this stuff. Questions and comments down below. As always, I'll talk to you later.